Howdy doody folk. Welcome, welcome. It's me, Hydra. Here we are with some players. I'm on the wrong Discord screen. Hello players, how you doing?
Hello.
Alright.
Hope everyone's alright.
So, we've got 3 players here with us today for we'll call it a mini campaign. We're going to adjust the desktop audio a little bit. There we go, that should be a bit better. And we're going to be running a short campaign. I don't know how long it'll be. It depends how long it takes for the players to survive or die, I guess. You know, who knows? So I don't think we need to go into too much of a preamble, other than to say that it is currently snowing. It is currently freezing cold. It might be night, it's quite hard to tell given the shade that is cast over you from the trees and the thick, dark grey storm clouds up overhead. Gentlemen, you have been travelling for about 4 hours, and it was 3 hours to the next town. Let's first, before we go into introductions, just each roll an average endurance roll for me, please, to see how you are coping in the elements.
Is it challenging or average?
Average.
Average.
Okay. Right. Dagmar, you would have got extra bonuses anyway for being as stoutly as you are. Let us start with you, as despite your small stature and the fact that the snow comes up midway up your shins, you could probably last all night in this, you suspect. Could you give us a visual of what your character currently looks like?
Sure. Right now he is just trudging along through the snow, as you said, pretty deep in it. His clothing is largely all gray in coloration. Being a Dowie, he's not particularly concerned with fashion or color scheme or any of that. Everything he's wearing is all about being practical. Boots, coat. He has his cloak on under his coat. Anything he can just to stay warm. Beneath it all, you can't see it right now, of course, because of his coat. He's got his and the snow, because of he's got his trousers, as well as his shirt beneath all that. Yeah, and on his face, of course, he has a very thick black beard and very unkempt black hair in back. Yeah, he's all bundled up for the cold, but he looks like he's taking it pretty well right now.
Okay, we move over to the elf, who is starting to show the first signs of frostbite. You have a couple of fingers and, well, there may even be a couple of toes that are starting to seize. Maybe another hour or two and you might perhaps risk losing one. Could you give us a description?
Certainly. Calrental Imdrill is a 6'7" tall, lean-bodied wood elf, and a near of Laurenlawn Forest in Nordland. He is young in looks, even for his race, with pale skin, olive-green eyes, and long, loose, fair hair. He is dressed in winter attire, although that does not seem to be helping him in this current climate. A thick dark green tunic, cotton tunic that drapes down to his lower legs, enveloped by a dark brown leather overcoat. His sleeves of his tunic are closed by his leather gauntlet and gloves, his neck covered by a green shoulder cowl, and his umber wool trousers by his fur-capped boots. He carries most of his belongings behind his bag, slung over his shoulder. But beneath his overcoat he conceals his Aenir short spear, a golden blade carved with elvish design, and a long hilt designed with green and white stripes.
Thank you very much. Gaspard, we come to you last. You will be needing a fire fairly soon. There is not a lot of feeling in your nose. A couple of fingers, your delicate artistic fingers perhaps, are starting to stiffen. You can see the them being a ghostly pale white. You fear the worst for your hands if something is not done quickly. Could you give us a intro? However you wish.
Putain! Is there no end to this fucking snow? Perhaps I should have bought some proper attire. He is wearing clothes that couldn't be more contrasted with the other two because they are more like fashion than practicality. They look like sturdy winter clothing, but they certainly don't feel like it. On his head there is a dainty or swaggerly more hat with a feather, and he is cussing in his beard constantly and trudging along through the snow in thin boots that look very fashionable, but again aren't very warm.
Gentlemen, I think this is a perfect opportunity for you to converse. I will give you a few moments to evaluate.
Where are you going, dwarf? It's this way. A couple more miles this east.
You told us that miles back now. We're supposed to be 4 hours to the next destination. No, 3, weren't it?
I know where I'm going, but I'm not as attuned to the cold as you, dwarves.
I just grit my teeth and shake my head. How are you hanging out? How are things hanging up for you, Umgi?
Like, I can't feel my own toes anymore. Sacre curse this land and its cold weather. I long for a fire.
Yes, well, we burnt our last map a couple of hours ago. According to my memory, which I must say is good, there should be something somewhere around here in this blasted forest.
Gentlemen,
Better be, we ain't gonna last till the morning.
I will allow you to press forwards, as there's not enough time to go back, at least for your poor artist's hands. Some 10-15 minutes later, you see the sign of smoke up above the tree line. A warming sight.
Is that what I think it is? Sacre Chalia! Ah!
As if you ever needed to doubt me. Well, let's not stay in this cold any longer. Let us not tarry. And Calendar will begin picking up the pace towards this place.
Okay. As you pass over the crest of a hill, you realise it is not the town you were expecting, but a coaching inn. A lonely coaching inn with a small warehouse by its side. There is a light out front. Something is within some sort of trap. And definitely ablaze. Other than that, the place seems to be more or less deserted, but of course, the fire is clearly lit. There is light inside as well, and a healthy amount of smoke, and likely warmth coming out of the chimney.
Oh, sorry, Dagmont, you go.
No, you go ahead.
I was just going to say that Calrental will look around, just around to see his bearings, and am I right to assume that it is all from here just dense forest?
Very thick, very dense pine trees, some 50 yards tall. This is a very old forest, and these are very old trees.
To himself, then, Calrental will grimace a little bit, just to himself, beneath his cowl, and then turn to the other two and say, "This is the way. Let's go."
You sure about that, Elgie? Thought you said we were heading for a town. This looks like one house.
Every town has a suburb. Even an Aeneas such as I know that, and I've only been out here for 26 years. Keep up, dwarf.
I just mutter under my breath and trudge along.
As you approach the inn, well, apologies, we have our first technical faux pas, as we are missing some tokens. There we go. As you approach, you can see within this burning cage is what looks like the leg of goat. Perhaps. Perhaps not. And by the side in the window, a figure swiftly moves to the side. Someone is aware of your arrival at least, but there is one thing that stands out probably most to the Bretonnian and elf in the party, and that is a particularly unpleasant smell. It's burning and it's stinging, and it feels like the beginnings of hay fever in your nostrils. You suspect whatever is burning to be the cause.
Such is the human food. Well, imperial, as to say. Well,
Gaspard, y'all in the habit of burning meat as a fuel source?
Who cares about that? It's warm. Come on, let's go inside. I'm aching all over.
Fair enough.
Calento will follow Gaspard's lead.
The door is closed with a knocker, and it is currently barred, so I will assume you knock. Very swiftly, there is a response. Coming. Coming, coming. You hear
Hurry up!
fairly
We're freezing
laboured
out here.
walk. Takes perhaps 10-15 seconds before the door creaks over to one side. And hesitant not to let too much heat out, or perhaps not to let certain things in, a head and half a shoulder peep round the side.
Quickly, my good man, let us in. We are freezing to death here.
One of his eyebrows leans heavily into 45 degrees. Are you some flipping circus? What's an elf doing with an ungie? And are you from Bretonnia?
Yes. We can do introductions later. Come on.
Oh, flippin' me, I've started a flippin' circus. And steps inside with a rather moody strut about him. The inn inside is one large ground floor, set of stairs leading upwards toward the second floor. A bar is at the back. There are about 4 to 5 tables. There is one lady currently behind the bar. A couple of children in the corner who appear to be playing with some straw. Seems to have been twined into the shape of a few figures to keep them amused. And a lonely figure with a hat drooped over their head and a sign on his chest, wooden that is, with a piece of string draped over his neck, says closed. The man who had welcomed you in just simply walks over and sits down, and a rather more hospitable lady comes over to welcome you. Oh, don't mind him. He's really lovely when you get to know him.
I'm sure. Gaspard just walks into the room, check out where the fire is, and just walks over and almost, steps in as close as he can.
Sure, you can get plenty close, and it's right next to the bar as well. Fortunately, just adjust some of the noises for you. There we go. That sounds a little bit warmer. Not quite. There we go. The fireplace is warm, and the lady offers all of you some food. Would you like anything to eat? You look like you're hungry.
Absolutely, ma'am.
What can I
This
get you?
fire warms the body, but I would like something to warm the soul.
Well, I've got some mutton, if that'll do you.
Yeah. Well, that's fine.
Sounds just fine, ma'am. Any
Mutton
spirit?
will do, I suppose. Mutton will do.
She takes a second look at you. Elf. Oh my, I didn't... Oh, sorry, we've not had an elf here before. Do you eat meat?
Well, not conventionally, but I must make sacrifices being in your territory. You understand.
Oh, well, I'll see what I can do. I heard you slept in trees. Do you want a blanket so when you go sleep in one, you're welcome to a bed if you like.
I thank you for your hospitality, I say, furrowing my eyebrows. But yes, a night to stay here will be fine. We are making our way east. We just need a respite for the night, a brief one.
Oh, well, you might be stuck here a while. These storms can last. Or they can last. I've seen one last a whole week. Still...
That kind of blip it down.
Carento rolls his eyes.
Can't
Are
be
you
waiting
certain?
a week.
Oh, aye, well, you're in the thick of Kislev. You don't get storms like this down south. Now, drinks for the gentleman. A beer or wine?
Some wine, please.
Beer.
Beer.
Look at the dwarf.
I look at the Elgie. On second thought, I might have wine, please.
Oh, wine for a dwarf? How very fancy. And what's your name, Master Dwarf?
Dagmore Goldgut.
Dagmore. A pleasure. And, likewise, your name, Mr. Elf, and,
Calrental lifts his head, his chin up, and says in a very ostentatious way, Calrental par Imdriel of Lowenlawn Forest, at your service for the night. And gives an elegant bow.
oh, well, we've not had a noble here in a while. And you, sir, you've got a peculiar accent to you.
Gaspard de Longueville. Nice to meet you, madame. Thank you for your hospitality. For your welcome.
She's currently behind the bar, serving out some drinks. The food is on the stove, just in front of the fire, which I assume is right under your nose, Gaspard. Where did you say you're from, Mr. Gaspar?
From Bredonia. I'm from the beautiful town of Longueville.
Oh, flip me. There is a silence in the room for a couple of moments. One of the children, a small girl who is playing perhaps but 3 yards from you and has been listening intently. She begins to shake. Some moments later, she lets out an excitable roar as she runs towards you. There's another Bretonian here! I do not believe it! Where are you from? What is your name?
Who is the child is asking me?
Yes, she has just run up to you to give you perhaps a hug. She's kind of running through the pleasantries before deciding whether or not to commit to a full-on Bretonian hug and kiss on each cheek.
Ah, bonjour, ma petite. Je suis dans Longueville. Et tu?
Oh, well, my name is Elise. I am here visiting my uncle, that miserable old bastard.
Your uncle. Oh.
Oui, I've been sent here until I am old enough to marry, because I keep finding myself having a little too much fun with the boys back home.
Sounds like someone I know.
I must warn you, it is very boring.
Yes, well, I would suspect so. These Imperials, they do not know how to have fun.
How old are you?
What's a peculiar question for you?
I
Can
am...
you have a guess?
Well, you have a beard. Then again, dwarfs have beards. But your beard, I would say, is well trimmed. So I would say 25.
Oh, very close. I'm 23. So 23, as the Imperials say.
I am 12, which means I'm nearly old enough to marry.
I think you will make a fine wife for someone someday.
Practically a baby where I'm from. Calendral mutters to himself.
Don't mind him. He is a boring elf. They make some nice towers in my town, but
You are traveling with an elf?
well, we are going the same way, so I don't know if you can call it traveling. I don't think anyone ever travels with an elf.
I have so many questions. She's very quickly interrupted by... Lazy, leave the gents alone. You can ask questions after they've eaten, if they'll allow it. Go have a sit down and play. Yes, uncle. She very courteously moves to the side with a sidewards sarcastic look that she clearly does not enjoy. Following orders, let's say. You are taken to a table. You are given food. I will ask for a consume alcohol check from all of you, please.
Difficulty?
Challenging. Whatever you're having. And this will be because you have not drunk in quite some time. And this is pretty good stuff.
Oh,
Okay.
I forgot that they do not water down their wine here.
Oh, the humans are so crude. I say in Elven, not in Rexpiel.
Oh, pardon me. The lady quickly starts... Sorry, we don't have any water. It's not good round here.
Stuff is tame compared to what they got in the Garrix, I assure you.
Just make a note, the two of you, that you are a little bit inebriated, but in full control of your faculties.
Why? Calendral points at the lady. Why do you not drink water?
Because it'll come out the other end just as fast as it went in.
Oh, I've forgotten. Been to the cities, your plumbing system's even worse. Makes sense. It's very strong for crude but strong.
I'll see if there's anything a little bit weaker for you, a little softer perhaps, something we give to the kids.
My thanks. He kind of dismisses, doesn't really look at her, dismisses it with her hand and just goes back to staring at the contents of his ale mug.
A miserable-looking gentleman hobbles over to you. It's evident now the reason he took so long to answer the door is because one of his legs is likely false or just doesn't bend anymore. So, you mind me asking a few questions?
It's about the elves, and no. He just turns away dismissively. More or less saying it to himself.
Good. Don't like too much trouble. I suppose you've all got coin. Forgot to ask at the door. You caught me off guard.
Of course.
We don't charge too much, but We need enough to live. And a few coins are exchanged hands. You were banking on this keeping you alive at the next town that you arrive at, but, well, maybe that'll have to wait. So, if you need anything, I'll be around. If you hear anything, I'll be around. But don't worry, it might be Hexensnackt, but we're safe. Safe as houses.
Safe from what, exactly?
Excellent. What now?
It just gives you a blank stare for a few moments. Well, you do know Hexensnackt.
I'm from Carrick's. I ain't familiar.
Oh, man. I pray a Bretonnian at least would be slightly more cultured.
Putain de bordel de merde. I forgot about that, so...
You picked a shite night to be walking the road.
C'est un complète tas de merde.
I'll let you fill them in. I'm sure it sounds better in Bretonnian. But, don't worry. It's all taken care of.
And before you leave us to our own, you mind sharing your name with us, sir?
Me? Certainly. My name is Halman. Or Mr. Dittmar. Depending on how formal you want to be.
Pleasure, sir.
That there's my wife. Judy. Or Judith. That's my niece. You met her. Elise, or Fleur. I don't know, some Bretonnian word. I call her Petty. And that over there is Hansel. That's my boy.
Fine family.
Yes, quite.
Oh, that reminds me. He puckers his lips and blows. You don't hear anything, but the floorboards behind you, from where you are sat, Dagbond, vibrate and shake as something heavy this way comes.
My eyebrows raise, and I look over my shoulder. Do I see anything?
Yes. Behind you is a dog. A very large dog. This is the sort of dog that one might take hunting bears with. And indeed, that's what the breed is for. It's the size of a small pony, and it looks like it could likely eat one. It goes straight past you up to its owner to be petted gently on the head. And this is Sheriff.
Putain, that's a big one.
Word.
Does your dog bite?
Oh yes, very hard. Where do you think we got the Ungo from outside?
Best keep away from him then.
He does as he's told. He's well trained. But I wouldn't pet him unless he's looking particularly friendly.
I do not really like dogs, so that will be fine.
Good. Sounds wonderful. The dog is dismissed with a hand gesture and goes back into the dark corners of the room to sit down, and with a heavy flump, it rests once more, silently in the corner. Right then. Have some entertainment. Betty, perhaps you could get that old string doodah out. Do a little music for us. Yes, Uncle. She runs up the stairs. Calentril has the best hearing. Up above your head, before she walked up, was a notable creak and the sound of a couple of footsteps.
Right. Calento will definitely flinch at that, ears perk up at that. But he will make no mention of it, not whilst Hellman and all the others are standing around.
Right. You are left to your own devices at the table. The others take a seat and stringed instrument is brought down. The wife and the daughter sort of attempt to tune it for a few moments.
So,
Gaspard, forgive me. What is this Hexensnackt?
you truly do not know, huh? Well, and he finally sits down, his hands warm enough, tingly. Sits down. I assume that there's a bowl of food in the meantime.
There is a central bowl on the table. There is jugs of ale and wine. The food is warm and your fingers are working yet again.
Well, Mr. Dwarf, the Hexennacht. It is the worst day, worst night of the year. I mean, you know the moons, mansleep and morsleep. Surely you are aware of the elements in the sky, or you're not?
Can't say I pay too much heed to lore, I say as I'm taking a bite out of some mutton.
Gaspar rolls his eyes, looks at the elf, signaling this uncultured elf. Well, the two moons, they are, how you say, in alignment. When they are full, both at the same time, the green moon and the white moon, then evil stirs, and it is strengthened. And it comes from under the rocks and wherever, and attacks civilization. It is a bad time to be outside.
Oh,
No.
right, I see. It's your human superstition, I see. Well...
It isn't a
much,
superstition.
That don't sound so bad. Down in the tunnels, we deal with shit all the time. Sounds like just this particular night, things just get a little bad for y'all one night a year.
Well, sometimes it comes twice a month. It is kind of unpredictable. And when you think the moon is going to be full, then the next day, the moon is gone. And then the day after, suddenly, the moon is full again. So
You ain't got any engineers who can figure out when it's gonna come next?
and even your kin have tried. There is in the bell tower of my hometown, there is a beautiful clock and how you say astronomical device that tells time and predicts the stars, points, and but even that cannot predict the attitude of Mosley.
My face goes a little bit blank at astronomical device, and I just nod my head and tilt my drink back.
Yes, Elemental isn't just not he's blanked out at the mention of, human constructs. He doesn't care.
Rest assured, it is suffice to say that it is unpredictable and dangerous. Dangerous.
Unpredictable and dangerous. Sounds like a familiar and similar meeting. Kind of making a quip towards the dwarf. And their meeting.
True. I just cast my eyes down at my food, more interested in it than having an argument.
Over in the corner of the room, the man with the sign around his neck who had a hat masking his face, and a very soft snore betraying his slumber. Seems to muster at the sound of your conversation, and leans up over his table to continue sipping on his drink, and turns his sign around, which says fortunes, 3 pennies.
Oh. A fortune teller, looks like.
Oh, where? Oh, you see.
Fortune. That sounds like damned magic. Just pay him no heed.
Sounds like a liar.
I'm actually going to agree with Elga here, believe it or not.
Well, there could be some light entertainment, maybe. But on a night as this, maybe do not tempt the fates, huh?
Well, why not you go ahead, Bretoni and Gaspard? Go on then. Get a fortune.
Do I look like some gullible peasant to you, huh? Or some nincompoop noble?
I'm not sure you all look the same to me.
Sure. You all look the same to us too, so we're even.
I beg to differ. He quickly, solemnly goes back to his food.
I resist the urge to dig into the elf any further.
Wonderful.
Stupid fey folk.
Okay, this place is getting a little bit too hot for me. You're gonna stand up and, let's just cool the area. I'm going to just stand outside for a moment. And he will just walk a little bit outside, open the door, and just stand outside for a couple of minutes. Just sipping on his ale.
Don't freeze to death, I say over my shoulder.
The dog does get up as you go to leave, and sort of heads to the door with you, and just sort of tilts its head to one side as you leave.
Oh. Goodness. First the humans, now you. Even the animals want to know where I'm from. And he just quickly continues to open the door. If he can.
Certainly can. The dog responds with a some sort of murmuring grumble, as if perhaps in its own language it has something to say. And outside you are treated yet again to the god-awful smell of what is burning above your head. Which, if you heard correctly, might be an Ungor? Or what's left of one.
Would a character know what an Ungor is?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Wait, is this what I can smell to be?
Yes.
Right.
It looked at first glances like the leg of a goat, but perhaps with your nose somewhat drawn to it, you recognise it to be the leg of a beastman.
Right. Well, 1-2 minutes. I'm just going to scan the outside because Calrental wants to get his bearings where he is.
Okay.
Because he doesn't know where he is.
Yes.
So he's going to try and see if he can find out just where he is. Scan the environment, the trees and everything around him.
I will say a challenging navigation, given the time of day and given the weather. It certainly would be easier in daylight, and if there was a few more stars visible. Okay. You are most certainly not anywhere you recognise or not anywhere you thought you would be. Even with your bonus, even with your +3, that translates to you're quite confident that you are lost.
Yeah, after like a couple of minutes, Calrental does scan the area, looking through the darkness, the deafening darkness amidst the trees. And then his shoulders sag in disappointment and says in Elven, "We are truly lost. Oh. And then he quickly walks back in, already cold enough, closes the door, passes by the big dog, and comes
Okay.
back to the table.
Meanwhile, I will say, before your return, Gaspard and Dagmar had a couple of moments. Is there any words to be exchanged?
Gaspar will wait until the dwarf is busy eating and drinking. Yep, and a little bit distracted, and then slip over to the gentleman with a fortune sign and sort of
Okay.
in a soft voice, Monsieur, can you read my fortune?
He nods, without saying a word. Points to the number 3 on his sign.
I give him 3 pennies. I had them ready in my hand. Yeah,
Okay. He sits opposite you, motions for you to do the same. Cracks
sit opposite myself.
to sit opposite him. He cracks his knuckles, wiggles his fingers up in the air, and leans down over a candle that is not lit. And fingers for you to do the same.
I try to repeat what he did as best as I can. With
Okay.
a little bit more flair, perhaps, or...
Your faces are perhaps 9-10 inches apart. You can definitely smell the breath of perhaps some rotten cheese, but you're Bretonian. That's not unusual. Sorry for the injected racism there, but... So, with a flick, and at this point I would say an elf walks in to sit beside your not-so-young dwarf. With a flick, he casts his cape back over himself and over the two of you, shrouding you in complete darkness. And there is a very awkward silence for the good part of 5 to 6 seconds, which is gradually broken by something peculiar. The candle between the two of your faces sparks. Softly.
Oh yes. Oh yes, indeed. It is the night of the witch. The night, nay, of the naked witch. 4 witch hunters shall appear in Kislev. The name of one shall be arrogance, the others shall be fearfulness. The first has falsely beheld me, the second shall fear me. The first shall conspire to their own destruction, the second shall be governed by false senses. My hunger returns. Oh, well, look at that.
He looks down below the candle. There are 2 cards. They weren't there when you first sat down.
Pick a card, please.
There is a boy and there is a girl on the cards. They seem to be tarot cards of some crude nature. Not familiar to you, but you've certainly seen the cards before.
Is that the girl from here? Gaspar is confused, discombobulated, and utterly vexed and mesmerized. And he will take the card of the girl because he just met a Bretonian girl. That's how your brain works.
As you look down toward the card and notion that that is your choice, your fortune is interrupted by a voice.
Petty, I told you to get the firewood earlier. Why is there no firewood?
An argument starts between your young Bretonian friend and her uncle. She's somewhat apologetic, but complacent.
I told you to get firewood. I'm supposed to be turning you into a lady. I'm supposed to be showing you responsibilities. So, go outside and fetch some firewood.
She seems suitably terrified.
And I assume this is loud enough that we can hear it too?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
There's not much else to break the silence in this room other than you talking and them arguing.
Seeing, I like to think that the elf comes, sits down. The human has went to see is enveloped by the man in the corner, and he's just sat there with a dwarf opposite him. The moment he sees that, and the moment he hears the uncle shouting, and hears an excuse to leave the table from the dwarf. Oh, please, I can most certainly help your child and get some firewood.
I don't know about that. Can we really trust an Elgie to want to hurt a tree?
As if a dwarf would ever know what a tree is. Do you know what a tree is?
It's them big tall things. You hit them and they fall down. Other than the Elgie, of course.
Of course. How crude. I must never forget the courtesy of the dwarves.
I get out of my chair. Well, never you mind this Elgie. Whether he's coming or not, I would like to assist you myself. It is no kind of weather out for an Umge this night. And if the Umge's legends are true, you certainly don't need to be out there alone.
Oh, thank you, monsieur. Master Dwarf said it's very kind.
She seems shaky, like a autumn leaf.
It is dark out there. Uncle, could I have a torch?
Just sort of waits.
It's round the back. You know where it is. Merci.
She takes a swig of one of your drinks, whoever drank the least. I'll assume that is the elf's. Sneakily tries to bury half of it down before attempting to look braver.
And you, monsieur. Your companions are coming to help. Will you escort a damsel who needs a little help?
With them too. I'm happy to... Very well. I will assist you, only to keep you from those bickering idiots.
I knew you were a gentleman. It is a pleasure to have a Bretonian near somebody who has some manners.
Yes, it is.
She walks out the door.
I give a distasteful look at the dwarf, a glance at the dwarf before, giving a shrug. Well, best get to it. And huffily stands up from the chair and will begin to follow, but not until the dwarf walks first.
Yeah, I'll wait for him for a second. I'll shrug and walk on out the door behind the young lady.
The dog approaches the girl before she leaves and gives her a couple of sniffs. Again, as you go to leave, there is a very faint but noticed creak on the floor above you. Perhaps...
We noticed it this time too?
It's obvious.
Okay.
Perhaps a thud. Somewhere between the two.
Carental will look up above and will say to the dwarf, actually, since he's next, just in front of him, I heard something similar just a couple of minutes ago. There's more people up there. It's not the only ones.
I reckon it makes sense you can hear it with them ears of yours, but that aside, I heard it this time too.
Nothing as loud as that. It sounds like something being dropped heavily. Human settlements, what can I say? Oh, she's in earshot. Never mind.
This is an inn, though. I hear the Umgi tend to let people such as ourselves stay over the night, so
Well,
they didn't seem
yeah,
to be in any trouble. So I guess it's just
suppose.
another patron.
But I saw no footprints coming here of the recent, you know. It's maybe thick with snow, but I could see there was no other footprints except our own making when I walked outside. Perhaps the family's a lot larger than we imagined, and who knows? Gaspard might have another Bretonian friend to spend the night with.
I'm just visibly thinking on that.
While the other two conversed, Gaspard.
Ma petit. Tell me, where is your family from? Where are you from in Bretonia?
Oh, well, there's a little... No, you first.
I'm from Longueville, a beautiful city on the northern coast of Bretonia.
I know it. I know it.
Yes.
I am from there.
Oh, c'est vrai. What a coincidence.
Do you know, Mary? Mary, the butcher.
And
Oh,
for the sake of filling in a blank, you do. That's a family member.
but my family?
Yes. Sorry, GM shoving his foot in somewhere, but
No, it's
a
fine. I
distant
mean,
relative.
okay, yep. Just
Not
wondering.
immediate family, but like a distant cousin.
Marie, where's my cousin? My mother's sister's uncle's daughter or something? Yeah, she's family. How do you know her?
We could be related. She's my mother. Oh, now I cannot marry you. I will have to find another man. Come on. Suivez-moi.
I'll see you. After you.
She heads round the back of the establishment, looking for a torch, and clumsily attempts to light it. You would assume this is the first time in her life she's ever handled one.
La merde.
She swears and curses far too much for a girl that's 12.
I can see why your mother has sent you here.
I am grown up for my age.
C'est vrai.
Right. There was a tree I was chopping down earlier before I made a snowman. Perhaps we can finish it.
Yeah, show me where it is. Perhaps we can help. But be quick. I'm starting to get cold already.
Yes. We.
As Gaspard is talking, just as he finishes, Calvental will walk up to him, not really making eye contact or anything, like just keeping his gaze averted and outwards towards the woods, and he says, "I'm not sure if your senses caught it, but the fire, the stench, it was a beast man. I would have your wits about you if I were you."
Oh, it is, my uncle says if you put it in salt and then soak it in oil for a week, then they will not come within 5 miles.
Is that so?
It is
He
what
says
he
with
said.
feigned smile.
Is that what he said?
I see. You have a live a long life then, he says, overly sarcastic.
He lets us play in the woods, as long as we do not go too far.
Girl, you mentioned a snowman. What in the blazes is that?
Well, it is a similar shape to yourself. It is,
Makes like
Idiot.
a circle shape.
It's a dowie?
Oh, oui. It is short. I ran out of muscle, and the head was too big, so the body ended up being the head. Come on, we'll show you. Follow.
I'm confused. I follow after. I want to see what this thing is.
Okay.
I've never seen snow.
She leads
before.
you into the woods, maybe only 50 yards, particularly far, to a tree. By now she has a lit torch, which makes things considerably easier on the eyes.
Okay, I'll take a peek.
It appears to be a round ball of snow with another round ball on top. 2 sticks have been shoved in, and some stones have been used for eye decorations, you would assume. It seems to be rather crudely crafted.
Looks
So this
just
is
like you,
not-
Dagmord.
I'll take that as an insult, Helgi. This is a fine bit of the usual umgak I'm used to seeing, though. Not the kind of construction that the Dowie would make. If I were to make one of these, it would be far finer quality. I scratch my chin, kind of stroking my beard, kind of actually pondering on that idea now.
Yep, she's really upset by that.
I will say as well to Dagmord, well, humans are crude, lest we never forget.
Do not mind that dead my shit. Ma petite.
I'm a musician. I'm not one of the people that does things with their hands and sculpts and...
I've seen some dwarven art, and it is short and stubby, just like them.
I shoot a dirty
boring.
look over at Gaspard.
She smiles
Boring
and,
and naive.
and giggles a little bit.
Damn.
You 3 are funny. Maybe I could live with you. We could sneak out together.
Perhaps, but first we must wait out this cursed storm.
Yes. And then we will go on an epic quest to find myself an husband. Someone big and strong.
I'm sure there are lots of big and strong men in the Empire. I'm not going back to the Bretonnia, so if you want to find a Bretonian husband, then you will have to go without me.
Or you could go to Cathay, where I'm going. I'm pretty sure there might be some suitors for you there. You need not go with this Bretonian.
Do not know about Cathay. We will talk about it later. I'm excited. This is it.
And she kicks a tree that's next to her, and it creaks ever so gently. It looks like a storm has started to uproot this, and rather appeasing to you, Calentril, this tree is already dead. It is
Breathe a sigh of relief.
long since passed, and she does at least seem to have selected appropriate firewood rather than the moist, sappy wood of a pine tree.
Well, there's one thing I know how to do, and that is how to push over a tree. Come on.
Parental is gonna, just whilst everyone is, he's just gonna stay behind just for a split second and just look around him, because he is an Anir and he is more wary about woods and forests. He's just gonna look around and just check his surroundings. Everything look okay, or is it still just pitch black?
Challenging perception, please.
Yeah, but he's just cautious ever since they found about the Ungor. Perception.
Yeah, can we all look around?
Certainly.
Okay. It's a challenging perception.
It is. That's a good roll. That's a good roll for a dwarf. Dagmar, despite the fact you are very good at seeing in the dark underground, the trees have this annoying effect of all looking the same, and tunnels are just far easier on the eyes. You cannot make out with any certainty. Calentril, however, is eagerly looking between every tree and perhaps up the trees and down. It would seem that you are completely alone.
And with that perception, could I see the trees. Are they healthy, or is it like a genuine forest, or do they look all dead?
I will interrupt that train of thought for one moment, as you do hear a little bit of heavy breathing. And this is with your +6.
Instantly, his eyes begin to well up a bit, water up, like in a bit of stark fear, because he can't really see anything, but he can hear it. And I'm not sure how far I said I was lagging behind, so I'll quickly just, eyes wide, stagger back.
It is behind
Is it feminine?
you.
Feminine or
Bestial.
Or bestial. And he will slowly look around, turn back his head, just his head, and then slowly his shoulders to look above.
About 12 yards away, quite quiet for a giant, is a canine that is looking at you with a head tilted, a tongue protruding, and a deep bestial breath that now it's made eye contact with you, slightly more relaxed.
And he basically just breathes a sigh, mostly of relief, but also from pent-up breath from the sudden fear he felt. And he'll just... What do you want? And he'll just walk and try and catch up with the others, still looking at this canine,
Dog
just seeing
follows
if
you.
it's still looking.
Yeah.
And he'll just
Meanwhile,
shake his
sorry.
head.
Go ahead.
No, I'm finished now. I'm finished.
Meanwhile, while this is going on, I've just kind of stepped up and I've decided to take it upon myself to try to knock the tree over. I'm just gonna try to shoulder into the tree if I can.
Certainly. Roll me a average strength test, please.
Okay.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Okay. We're going to have a 5-minute break, and we're going to chat about your tree felling capabilities. I'll see you all in 5.
Bonjour, monsieur et madame. Bonjour, audience. Welcome back to another chapter of annoying Bretonian accents.
Hello again, folk. Nice to be back. So, we were beset upon by a giant dog that has followed Calentral back while Dagmord is assisting with felling this tree. Meanwhile, Mr. Bretonia, what are you up to?
My petit, tell me, that fortune teller inside, where is he? Where does he come from? Is he?
Is that where he is? He's a fortune teller? I did not know. He arrived maybe 2 hours before you.
Oh, really?
It is strange. We do not normally get anyone. But I am happy. I have friends.
I must say his connery is pretty good. Quite entertaining.
Ah, well, he looks like the part, I suppose.
Yeah.
So,
Well, let us have a look at the dwarf. It will be funny to see him fell this tree.
She's currently like standing on it in that sort of Joan of Arc climbing up on a mountain, at least up the side of it, while Dagmar, what are you doing to fell this tree?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna slam into it while she's holding on to it. I don't want to kill the girl.
Oh, she's helping. This is an assist.
Oh, okay.
If it falls down, she'll be on top of it, riding it. So.
Okay. Yeah, in that
she's
case,
mad
yeah,
for it.
I'm just shouldering into it just to exclaim, trees are bullshit.
wait. On 3. 1, 2, 3.
You don't know which one of them meant 3, so you just hit it, and the tree shifts another 30 degrees off to the side, so it is just hanging, creaking on the last couple of roots that sound like they're about to snap. And she starts sort of just jumping on it a little bit like a trampoline.
Come on, you stubborn mule.
Careful up there.
Calentral,
Yes.
with your unnaturally high perception, as you walk back, you see a girl jumping up and down on a tree that's nearly horizontal now, and with the last couple of creaks, I'm going to ask you for one more perception roll, please.
Certainly.
This will be average
Average.
for your elven eyes, and this would be...
Right.
That'll do. Within the roots, you pay some attention, as it's perhaps something you're more familiar with than others. The signs of a tree's state of health. You notice something peculiar. It looks perhaps to be in it.
That's annoying. Sorry.
Yes, please, can we not type? The panning is not something I've turned off, and I can't turn it off now. So, as we were saying, could it be, perhaps, yes, a hand? At least something in the shape of a hand. It appears to be black. And just as your eyes focus on it, there is a large snap. As the tree fells, the rest of its few inches to go, and with that, a fair degree of snow is kicked up by the roots, as well as dust. Gentlemen, I will ask you all for an endurance roll, please. Average.
Yeah, Calento's heart is racing at the moment. Like he's like feels like he's like tripping. He's having to like do that double, you know, when you blink twice and lean over, like to see is this real?
Okay.
Challenging?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm just waving my hand around in front of my face dismissively at the dust.
Calentril and Gaspard. The two of you will be coughing and choking on a mixture of dust, snow, and what smells like ash or maybe even sulphur. Now, Dagmar, you've been in enough mines and probably got enough black lung already that this is nothing new. And yeah, you've smelled such things before. It has an eggy hint to it. And you are the first, as the dust settles, to see down below the roots there is something the shape of a corpse that is reaching upwards. It is the shape of a person. A female, you would assume. It is black and charred. You would maybe even guess it was made of charcoal. Or perhaps wood. The expression is that of someone reaching... Make an intuition test for me, please. Average.
Okay. Nope.
It is difficult to read. They are waist up, still underground, but completely not moving, obviously. Charcoal and wood does not move. But it gives you the heebie-jeebies. And furthermore, a couple of cracks in this material. Let's call it charcoal. Or burned wood. It looks like there is still some remnants of embers.
Okay. At first, as the dust is clearing right before I see this, I'm just laughing. Like, y'all weren't supposed to breathe it in. And then as the dust is clearing, I see what you just described. And I'm kind of leaning in a little, squinting, looking down at it. And then I recognize the humanoid shape, and my eyes widen a bit. I'm like, what in the world is that? What? Y'all seeing this? I asked, looking over my shoulder, taking a step back from it.
And he looks over, tries to see what he sees, and I assume we can see it as well.
You can.
Chalet, merci.
Oh, Ariel, protect my soul.
Your gasps and cries are interrupted by something. Something behind you, which is unmistakably Sheriff, the dog. Rustling and moving. That's all I can say, but there are some quick sounds coming from there.
Can we see him?
I assume you turn to look.
I do.
Yes, I do as well.
You all turn to look, and the dog has run. The dog has fled. Briskly. It does let out two loud woofs, which could be mistaken for a bear roaring. The girl, meanwhile, is climbing down from the tree, and I will ask you all to roll me a D100, please. I was just about to say, regardless of what numbers you roll, the fact that that's an 88 means Gaspard. As you turn to see what is happening with this dog that you just catch running away, despite your fashionable coat, you can hear and more importantly, you can feel an icy cold breath piercing your neck through this coat.
Turn on a dime in an instant.
1 yard away from you, this figure is now standing. arms reaching out towards you, but perhaps above you as well. You now gain the full visage of a burned wooden woman, you might assume. I'm going to ask you, followed by the others as they turn to follow, to make me a cool test, please.
Challenging, I assume.
Is it challenging?
Yes.
Okay.
And one from the elf. Calentral, your first instinct is to run. This is unnatural. It has moved in an unnatural way, and it is Hexensnackt. These are all bad things in a terrible combination. Dagmord, the next brave. Your instinct is to run, but you are able to resist the urge if you wish, and Gaspard. For whatever reason, though shocked, you do not have to flee.
I will take a step back. Putain de merde! What is this trickery? What was the girl's name again? Not her name. Fleur?
Elisa and
Ellie?
Fleur. They're actually once her middle name, once her first name, but she's called by either.
She said Elisa to me, I think. So
Yeah, she said Elisa.
Elise, viens! Vite! Come here, quickly! And he will quickly draw his dagger and keep it between it and himself, and sort of slowly walk back.
Yeah, I'm gonna draw my spade.
Backwards, yep.
So this thing is stationary, is that right?
It's made of wood. How would it move?
So I'm gonna do something that Mr. Matt wouldn't do, but Dagmord would do. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna take a swing at it with my spade.
Okay. You take a swing. No roll is needed. It's stood still. You cannot miss.
Okay.
Where would you like to strike it?
I guess just at the neck.
Okay. You strike at the neck. The spade goes clean through. It crumbles as if made of ash. And the body disintegrates in front of you, crumbling to the floor piece by piece.
Well, that was different, I say, and just let my spade I let it settle down at my side.
And as you rest your spade, there is a sound. An inhalation. That is all I can describe it as. A deep breath in from your surroundings. Perhaps the wind.
You go now. No, what have you done?
Just dispatch that creature, but whatever that was, let's make a tactical movement back into the inn. I'm sure we will be perfectly fine.
Calentral is gone already, I will say. Because
yes. I'll say that. How far? Okay, I'm not imagining. I imagine he's still within eyeshot of the other two or other three.
there are a lot of trees, but I will say you will need to get somewhere where you can kind of break eye contact and maybe then summon up the courage to peep a little bit and see, like, okay, are they coming? Are they not?
All right. So basically, as that would have happened, Calentral, the moment he saw that, would have just held his breath, fell down to his rump, staggered back with his legs, then staggered away and ran, just ran and fled. And then he probably just hit his shoulder on a tree. Holy gift! What is this witchcraft? And he's absolutely terrified. And he's just looking at the other three, all in the distance. They're just little more than silhouettes. And he's just basically resting his back up near a tree, just looking already as if he's just went through a marathon.
Dagmar and Gusbad.
That damn cowardly ass Elgary took off by the looks of things. I don't see him nowhere, I say, as I'm twirling around not so bravely myself, looking in every direction as I walk back to the inn.
Come, girl. Quickly. And get us some of these loose branches while we go back to stoke the fire. I think we will need a good fire later.
Oui.
Right.
She picks up a few in her hands briskly. Not many, but a few.
Yeah, I'll pick some up too, just because if
same.
we're almost out of firewood, we don't want to be in the dark and the cold at night.
Sure. You make your way back. You meet Calentral on the way, who is beside a tree.
Yeah, he's shivering, like knees curled up, and he's like, even though he was pale before, but in this darkness, his skin looks like a pallid calcite, and he doesn't even notice you at first, and his eyes just dart up to you, almost as if like he was in a trance. Oh, dwarf, you scared me.
I give him a hearty pat on the back and say, "You need to be braver, Elgie. I dispatched that thing. It's gone now.
It's gone.
It's gone, disintegrated into nothing."
I look at Gaspard and Fleur just to see like validation of his comment.
She shrugs, as if I don't really know what's going on.
And he basically slowly climbs up, trips up on the snow a little bit, finds his footing, and he tries to get his composure, wipes a wet lock of his hair from his forehead. Right, well, it just jumped me, Let's just go back to the inn, without even making eye contact with anyone. He's a bit ashamed.
I just shake my head and walk toward the inn, giving Gaspard a knowing look of, like, that guy's a coward.
Branleuse.
Back to...
Yeah, and on the way, I will say, Gaspard, you held yourself up pretty well back there. I am impressed. Almost like a Dow in your conviction.
Gaspar is tentatively looking at the woods and pondering over what the fortune teller said.
And I give him a pat on the back too and say, relax. Like I said, that thing, whatever it was, it's been dispatched. We are fine.
I hope so. I just hope that we did not set free what has been dispatched of before.
You give that thing too much credit. It died like a wimp.
What are you talking about, Gaspard? What else do you know about this Hexensnackt that you're not telling us?
You're scaring the Elga, Gaspard.
I'm not scared, I'm just curious. That's all.
For one as you, the best stay inside then.
I could do that. He basically, just shaking his head, just trying to summon up his courage, but he is visibly shaking.
Yeah. I think it's strange that someone who is so accustomed to living in the wood is scared so easily.
You talk as if you know me, sir. You do not. And he shakes his head, like, really quickly. You do not.
I know enough of your kin in the woods of Bretonia.
You talk of the fools of Athel Lauren. We're not like them.
Well, at least we agree then that they are fools.
They are indeed. They should grow up and realize that they're not alone in this world. Anyway, how far is it? And then quickly realizing that he's the guide, he said, it won't be long now. Isn't that right, little girl human? Huh?
It is right there.
Oh. He was in such a fluster he didn't realize he was actually like right next to the place.
Yes.
So we are. Well, inside we go.
You met at the door with Halman and a dog by his side. Halman is holding a rifle in his hand. What's the trouble? Sheriff told me there was something coming.
Sheriff? You mean your hound?
Aye.
How could he possibly have done that? He's well, whatever he is.
Don't you, Elgie, speak to animals?
How callous of the dwarfs to think that we're all the same.
Sheriff basically steps between Calentral and Dagmord, uses here... can you both roll me a D100, please? Calentral 46. I didn't get the second one.
70.
70. Okay. The rear end of Sheriff is used, Dagmor, to butt you to the side a whole yard, and the face end is nestled up to you, Calentral, very, very closely. It sounds like, well, do you have any intuitions of animals at all within your skill set?
Let me have a look. I have charm animal with a plus.
That'll do. Can you roll me an average, please? You're not sure if he wants to maybe eat you, or maybe he's just trying to separate you from Dagmor. And either way, the two of you are now separated by a furry pony with much bigger teeth.
The human, Hammond, your hound is rather too close for my comfort.
Yes. He doesn't like arguments. So, I'd suggest you be on your best behaviour. Or perhaps he'll bite you.
Just cast my eyes down.
I'm starting to like this dog.
Now, is that all the wood you got?
I'm afraid so. There was a kerfuffle.
Well, we'll have to make do. Hopefully that'll last.
Hellman, you mind if we asked you, you lived here long?
Coming up 20 year.
You ever, seen anything particularly weird or strange around the trees?
It's Hexensnackt. I'd expect lots of strange. But we're safe.
Right. I just shrug and I go over to walk over and put down the branches that I gathered, not asking more for now.
Calendral's about to ask a question, but then realizing that this might just catalyze the emphasis of cowardice, he simply just shrugs it off and, I'm going to get a drink. A hard one. And he stomps away to find any free mug of ale he can get and down it.
There's plenty of ale kicking around. The lady of the house hands you a particularly large jug.
Oh man, you look pale. Look at you.
It's just a cold. It's just a cold. It's just a cold. Human friend.
Hexensnackt will
Another-
do that. You'll see things. It's all right.
What?
You're all safe
look
now. Don't worry.
Just hearing this information, and I just furrow my eyebrows. Calentral just looks like as if who's gone mad here, and just then quickly just dismisses the notion and just downs the mug of ale. Sooner we get out of here, the better. It's. Oh, never mind. Another mug. It just doesn't even make eye contact.
Make a consume alcohol test for me, please. Challenging again. What's our Bretonian and Dowie up to at the moment?
I am. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Looks like he has one good idea at least. I'm getting some wine.
Yeah, I'm just
Get
gonna,
myself drunk and just get this night over with.
Yeah, I'm just gonna sit down in a chair, kind of diagonal opposite the Elgie, and I'm actually gonna recline back in the chair a bit, kind of tilting it off the floor with my kneecap against the table, and one arm resting up along the back of the chair. I'm having to reach up a bit, given my height, and I'm just tilting back a drink. I look very, very calm.
Meanwhile, the elf is just like shivering, just not making eye contact. His hair is like matted and wet, and his head's just really like like bird's eye view to his mug.
Do my alcohol test. Is it challenging?
Challenging,
Is that right?
please.
Yes. Sorry.
This imperial wine is truly disgusting, but thank God then it is not diluted, so at least that's a thing, huh?
Got a stronger batch this time, didn't you? I say, looking over at the owners.
I could always take a piss in it if you like.
I think I'll settle for this.
Might improve it.
Maybe.
He has that facial expression of, I'm going to go piss in it.
Can't be any worse.
Right. Well, I think we best retire soon. 'Tis late. And cold.
Yeah, we have been on the road a long time today.
Your room's the other side of the chimney. You should find it warms you enough.
Thank you, sir.
What happened to the fortune-telling fellow?
Off screen in the bottom left, he is currently asleep with the sign flipped over saying closed.
Strange fellow.
Aye. Not many of his type round here.
I can see why.
Nor
Doesn't
yours,
seem
for
like-
that matter.
He mentioned something of witch hunters. Oh, have you seen them around?
Rubbish. Lucky guess.
Because he
Well,
starts to
perhaps-
walk away.
I guess. I look confused. I turn my attention over to Gaspard and ask, what's that about witch hunters?
Oh. Well, in Bretonia we do not have many witches, but in the Empire, the people they do magics, and I believe you have to have like proof of something that it is sanctioned, and if you do not have such a thing, then you are branded an illegal magic practicer, and they will come for you, and they will burn you or hang you or quarter you or rip your guts out or everything of the above.
Sounds completely reasonable.
I don't know. I mean to tell you another thing. Come here. Well, the little girl cannot hear us.
I would
And
just,
I will...
if I may, just interject as he's walking up the stairs catching earshot. He will just respond to something you said.
It takes more than a piece of paper to prove that they're not a witch.
I don't know what the customs are, particularly on the...
He's
Empire.
gone now by this point. Well,
Yeah,
like
I'll
a final
remark to the
remark.
sky, yeah.
He likely hears as he goes, but doesn't respond anything further.
Ain't
I will,
too chatty for an umgizzy.
I will pull Dagmar over to out of earshot of anyone actually. About witches. When in Bretonia, when a child, is how you say, does the magic weird stuff, then the Fae and chances they will come and they will take the child away. And they will be trained as sorcerers, but only the women. The boys, they are never seen again. And that is why many Bretonians, who have a baby that is strange or magical, they will send the child away. And I never heard of Bretonians sending their child away to the Empire to become a lady.
It takes a minute, but my gears in my head are visibly turning, my eyes kind of darting left and right before they go wide, and my eyes meet Gaspar's. Like, do you think that I lower my voice a bit more. You think that Elisa girl? And I just say that and look him in the eye.
I don't know. I can say that she seems to be family. So there's no witches in my family, but.
Is that how it works?
Your guess is as good as mine, but all I know that no sensible Bretonian would send their child to the Empire to become a lady. They have no sense of honor here. They're just brutes and oafs.
I am likely to agree with that sentiment.
But still, a little bit louder now. They have freedom of thought and the freedom of speech, and a man can make a living for himself without, worrying too much about whether or not you are a peasant or a noble or some stupid thing like that. And to a degree, they can appreciate culture.
I suppose. You do seem a bit more cultured than the normal peasants and the like.
Yeah. Stupid
You ain't got the stink of excess coin about you of a noble neither.
Well, that's because the nobles in Bretonia tend to be piece poor, huh? They just take from the peasants, but then again above them is another noble who takes from them, and then there's another noble who takes from them, and then above until you get to the king, and he takes everything.
Well, that don't sound particularly fair.
It is the way of life. But then that is why everybody in Bretonia, we live for today. Yeah, we spend our money, and but over here in the Empire, they are more, sensible. They save money to have a feast, and in Bretonia we feast, and then after we see how we get by.
For us Dowie, coin's more of a means to the end and what have you. It's just something that's needed. It ain't something to live for. It's more about the pride in one's work. Good work gets done. That's all that matters at the end of the day.
I can get into that, but I hope there's also time to make not just things practical, but also make them a little bit more beautiful. Huh?
I don't verbally acknowledge that, but in my eyes, you can actually see a bit of understanding in that sentiment.
The elf over there, the town where I'm from, It has a lot of elven buildings. They are elegant and they have a certain beauty, but they are ultimately boring.
I turn my head and spit at mention of elven buildings. And I say, really? They actually have buildings? And I raise my voice looking over at Calendril. Hey, Elgie, y'all have buildings? How y'all just slept in trees?
Doesn't respond. He's you can't even see his face really. It's just his long hair is draped over him, and he's back like hunched over the bench of the counter, and he is still, even though his palm's shaking, but it doesn't seem more like he's still in fear. It's more or less guilt, regret, maybe, or shame now, mixed with a bit of fear.
Looks like the Elgie's out of commission for the evening.
Oh. Perhaps it was a bit too much to take in for him. With the dog and the wooden lady.
Yeah, he did get a few scares, didn't he?
Under your hand, Calendril. Quieter than you would expect for such an animal. This dog brushes itself the way a cat might brush itself against an owner's leg. This beast makes contact with you.
Yeah, I flinch, definitely, as I was not expecting. Oh, Sheriff. I don't know whether to be happy or scared to see you. He does not, like, touch the canine at all, out of fear of having his hand.
He touches you. His head, the size that it is, not too far from that of your dwarf, rests on your lap. Eyes just looking up at you.
Can I do like a charm animal? Just
Sure.
to see, you know, I want to see what this canine is really trying to get at.
Sure.
Average, right?
Yep.
Or charm, okay.
Average. I'll have to look to see what that is because I can't read them. Fucking elven dice. Okay, your best guess is that this animal's actually fairly in tune with the emotions of the room, and your best guess is he is consoling or reassuring.
I will gingerly put my palm on the top of his head. Gingerly. And
it is quite the hide and quite the fur. Thick and wiry, but warm. And there is a certain charm to him. A rustic charm, perhaps, but...
at least I have one friend in this darkness. And he just, continues, maybe just gently stroking the top, like ruffling the head and ears of the dog, but maybe a bit more confidently now. And he stops shaking. That's the thing, is his occupation has went wrong. And to really calm himself, Calentral is going to gently, maybe not hum, but just silently sing an elven song.
Mm-hmm.
To calm himself more than anything. And he's not being loud or audacious about it. It's just really between him, and 1 feet around him.
Mm.
And that's what he'll do to really just keep his resolve up.
Okay. You can roll a test for it if you like to see how well it performs, but as there may not be ears particularly listening, it's up to you if you do not feel the need.
I'll go and give it a go. See if his voice is not trembling. Would that be performance? Yeah.
Yes, please.
Performance. Oh, entertain.
Yeah, that will certainly do.
I just haven't got
Yep.
performance here, so I'll have to be challenging. Okay. Not bad.
Lovely, lovely. Lovely, lovely.
And the other what you'll do. So, sorry, go ahead.
The song comes to you fairly easily, and the dog remains perfectly still while you continue to hum your gentle melody, all the while painfully aware of a creak above you that every minute or two makes itself known. Perhaps it's the residents going to bed.
Tell me, Sheriff, as I see the dog, just his eyes looking up at you. And, you know, he knows he probably can't talk. He can't talk back, but he's just looking down and says, "Tell me, Sheriff, what other secrets lie in this house?" As he just continues stroking or ruffling the dog's head and ears and muzzle. But it's more like a rhetorical thing, really.
Sure. But nevertheless, Sheriff responds with a... like a bear sighing.
My thoughts exactly. Oh, I think the dog is talking to me. And he just quickly gets another sip of the mug before basically just downing it all and standing up. Well, and he looks to Gaspard and Dagmar on the other side of the table. What a night, but Cathay is just a day away. That clicks his fingers. You know, but he's drunk a little bit, and just begins staggering a little bit up and creaking up the stairs to get to his bedroom.
Right. Gaspard, I think I'm going to retire as well. It has been a long day, and this wine's actually a bit stronger than I thought it was going to be. I say, standing up from the table, pushing my chair in.
Yes. I will just finish my wine and then I will head upstairs as well.
Right. Just don't go stepping outside for any reason. Don't need to get lost in the snow. I know it's heavy
I'm not
snow.
an idiot.
Good. Didn't mean to insinuate you were. I reckon I'll see you in the morning. And I start walking to and up the stairs.
Okay. As you go up, Sheriff the dog basically just sits on the floor looking at the door. Lays down, you assume that's where he sleeps.
I'll give him a pet as I walk by if he'll let me.
Sure.
And I'll head on up.
Is there anything Gaspard will be up to while on his own downstairs?
Yeah. And to determine what, I will roll something. Okay. Yeah, he will just sit quietly with his wine, maybe poke up the fire, prepare it for the night. So, little doggy, something is strange here in this house. There's a little Bretonian girl that should not be here, perhaps. There's a wooden burned effigy of a lady that turned to ashes, and it is not good, especially not on Hexensnackt. What do you say, doggy? What if I look around here in this house? So now that he's alone, he just starts walking around and, just picking things up as you do, and maybe poking here and there, opening lids, seeing if boxes are open or closed.
Sure. You have
keeping one eye on the dog at all times.
Scoot around. The dog, I would say, immediate glances, is very peaceable and very calm. And to find what you find, I think we should return after a 5-minute bio.
Cool, cool.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you in 5 minutes for the final hour of Hexensnackt. Spooky, spooky, spooky. Creepy, creepy. We return again. Gaspard. It's more Spanish, but never mind. You are here currently searching through the ground floor of a coaching inn. It's a single room, relatively simple, and your canine companion for the evening is maybe asleep, at the very least, unmoving. You are free to explore. Where would you like to start?
What is this? Some cheese. And maybe nobody here. Hello, would you mind if I take this wine? No, you do not. Oh, sure, Gaspar, go ahead and take the wine. I will. Oh, stupid Imperials, never diluting their wine. Huh. Some nice cups here. Seems okay. What is this? I look behind or on the counter.
Okay. Around the counter, there is the normal assortment of food that you would expect. Behind the counter, somewhere perhaps your sticky fingers start to explore, is where that rifle now sits, alongside a small pouch of black powder and a box containing a few shots. This is... maybe you have heard. Do you have a Lord Reichland or something of the sort, Gaspard?
Let's see what I have. Nope, nothing.
Just make me an average intelligence test, please.
Yep. It's a nice rifle. A musket. Comme le musquetier.
This is a very nice rifle. It's a bit longer than you would expect. It looks like it could probably fell a beast at a considerably long range, but you're not sure what the Reichlanders tend to call this. But exquisite craftsmanship, and perhaps unusually of all is how the owner of an inn would have such a trinket. It's well above his station.
This is a fine instrument. Could even be Bretonian. What is such a thing doing in a place like this? Gaspar is wondering. Well, I won't use it anyway. Not for me. Too loud and too crude.
Something else that catches your eye. A small glint reflecting off of the fire. Piece of metal on the floor, in amongst the straw that the children were playing with earlier.
Somebody dropped something. What is over here? He grunts as he bends and picks it up.
Bigger than you expected. A horseshoe.
Luck is with me, Ranald, I praise you. But maybe it's a good omen. Now, what did they say? You have to put it with the open end up so the luck doesn't fall out. So where do I put it? Let's see. Can I see like a nice place that I could hang this horseshoe up?
You could probably lean it up on top of the fire. You don't see a nail that it belongs to, but it could certainly be leant up there. The wall is stone, it has no risk of sliding off.
Let's put it here. What do you say, doggy? Does it look good? Yeah. By the way, all the while he's doing this, he'll have a bottle in his other hand and gradually emptying it. So probably we'll do
Make
another.
more tests, please. Dear sir.
Yeah, it's getting worse and worse.
Okay.
That's good. Yeah. Very good, very good. Howdy daisy. No, that's some boxes. There's some boxes. Every inn has some boxes.
what I will say is that you find some suitable midnight Bretonian snacks. Some cheese that is slightly mouldy, but that means that it's just starting to get good. Some bread that's not mouldy. And some crackers.
Looks like we hit the jackpot. I will take it and make myself comfortable here near the fire. Let's have a little snacking. Yes. What say you? You want some, doggy? Hey, doggy, you asleep yet?
Does turn his head. It smells cheese.
You want some?
Woof.
Yeah, I have a piece of and a nice cracker.
Do you throw it or pass it?
I think he is drunk enough to, you get a bit of overconfidence, and he puts it in his hand and holds out his hand.
Okay.
All right, I've lost
That
my
was an average roll. It goes gently. Clearly the dog has been trained to be gentle despite your encouragement. It's maybe not on its best behaviour. You feel the teeth lock on the palm of your hand far further than you were expecting. It doesn't draw blood. But...
Oh, that's a good doggy.
Perhaps reminds you of the danger of this animal because the whole of your hand was inside its mouth for a moment.
Good that you are well trained, huh? Now, little doggy, you watch the door and Gaspar will just sit here and empty this bottle. And he will do so.
Okay.
And probably just pass out where he sits.
And so we'll go to what I think will be a curious conversation for the evening, which will be an elf and a dwarf getting ready for bed together. So, elf and dwarf, you have arrived at your bedroom. I regret to inform you at this point that there is one bed. It's a double.
My jaw is agape at this point, just staring.
Oh. The gods deem to jest even more.
There
Just
must
basically
be
walk around.
there must be some kind of mistake.
Yes, it must be. It must be a smaller bed for you somewhere. Go away. And leave me in peace.
I ain't going nowhere. Are we sure that we're supposed to share a room? Are there more rooms here? I asked, leaning my head out the door, looking down the hall each way. How many rooms are there?
Not many. Not many indeed. Some in such a circumstance would take to the floor with some straw. That certainly wouldn't be unusual for a cheaper room. But this is one of your first times out of the Karak board. This is all very strange. You could have a look around the corridor for another room.
Yeah, I do not trust that Elgie won't just shut the door and keep me out for the night. So
Yeah.
I'm just gonna stick my head back in and sigh and shake my head. Well, you know what? You take the bed. It is made out of wood after all. It'll be like sleeping in them damn trees y'all like so much, Elgie.
Actually, it feels like I'm sleeping on a graveyard. It's dead.
Suitable.
Goodness, how can you just stand there and not remember what you just saw?
I remember, and I done destroyed it. It's dead.
I'm not talking about the end game of it. I'm talking about just seeing it there in the first place. How did it get there? There was a body in that tree. There was a hand hanging off one of the branches of the tree. This place is cursed. Dagmort, this place is cursed.
You worry too much, Elgie. I asked that Unga down there,
I was asking him questions about how long he lived here just to make sure he ain't got nothing to do with it. He said 20 years. I ain't much good at knowing how long it takes Umgebais to look like that, but I've been thinking on it. That weren't no human. Or, sorry, Umge. That weren't no Umge. That's, maybe it was some kind of, I don't know. You Elgi know magics. I hope you don't practice none, but surely one of y'all seen something like that before.
I don't know what to believe in anymore. I just want to go home.
I'm right there with you, Elgi.
Yeah, but at least you have a home to go to. That's your destination, not mine. I'm trapped
somebody
forever.
burn your forest down?
No. Not strictly speaking. And he's not making eye contact at this point. He's a bit, he's how do you say, twiddling with his hands, as it were, his fingers, as it were. And just so you know, both his hands are still gloved. He has not really taken any of his clothes off, but he seems to be in the middle of like fondling his fingers at the moment. I don't even know why I should bother. As if you would even understand. Anyway, I'm going to bed to dream. And hopefully come the day, we shall begin our journey east.
Damn,
Cathay.
Elgi. Oh, sorry.
Don't mind
That's
me
it.
changing the scenes. That's just,
Oh no, we're outside now.
yeah,
How
I'm
does that
just some minor technical issues.
Well, you Elgi need to quit looking down on all the other races.
It seems that the roles have been reversed. He says as he stands up and he's beginning to get, undressed and, well, just the coat off anyway. He's beginning to make to bed. And as he just takes the coat off, keeping everything else on, and he will get under the bed, lie down, back turned to Dagmord, and he'll just rest there, but he's not particularly dreaming, because elves don't sleep. He's not dreaming yet, he's just really thinking.
Yeah, I'm going to remove my coat, and I'm going to walk over to the bed quickly and reach over to one of the... actually, I'm going to reach over to the pillow that is under Calandril's head and yank it out from under it. Mine. And then walk over to another corner of the room and plop the pillow on the floor and lay down on it.
After, I think as it lays down and a couple of minutes in, probably Dagmord like a heavy snorer.
He is not, actually.
All right. Well, you will hear, just as the opposite side of the room, Calrental will say in the darkness, breaking the silence, Dagmord, you're breathing. I can hear it. Stop it.
Stop having them damn long Elgi ears.
By the pillow, I could... And he just covers his ears with his hands.
Got a whole bed over there, Elgi. Just stuff your head under the covers. You'll do just fine.
Just shimmies further into the duvet. just ignores everything else.
That's more like it.
I just turn over annoyedly on my side, facing away from the bed, and kind of curl up a bit because I have no cover and try to go to sleep.
Gentlemen, we now enter somewhere different. Calentral, you do not sleep the way a dwarf or a human would. You do something between closing your eyes and meditating. It's difficult for the human brain to comprehend, even as audience members, but you find yourself lucidly dreaming that you are stood within your room and there is a conversation taking part downstairs. You see the intricate details of the floor, the ceiling, the walls. Everything is as it was when you went to bed. Dagmord and Gaspard, you both have a similar but different sensation. Dagmord, you dream that you are within this room, only the walls are made of stone, which is more comforting. And it sounds like there are dwarfs downstairs.
Very nice.
Exchanging mead, perhaps. Ale, wine, who knows? And Gaspard, you are sat on a comfortable chair by the fire. And behind you, you can hear sweet singing of a Bretonnian lady. Now I would ask all three of you, perhaps we will start with... Let's just roll an arbitrary initiative roll. So no one normally rolls initiative, but let's roll initiative to see, in your slumber, who is the quickest to act.
I'm reaching for it.
Okay.
You said, is it average?
Yes.
Oh.
That'll do. Well, we'll do... It should have been challenging, but anyway, but bleh. It's just to gain a 3, 4, 5. We'll modify you up a little bit. Oh, it doesn't want me to edit. Never mind. Oh, it's because I'm on the wrong monitor. Anyway. It will be Calentril first. The lucid dreamer of the three. Your full faculties are with you. You are within this house. What would you like to do? And I would say you are aware you are dreaming, and sorry for interrupting, but do you know this is the state you enter? There is nothing unfamiliar to it.
Gotcha, right. That's just a clarification. So, Calentril will, where would you like to go? Within the house? Well, he would like to go... Look outside. He'd like to go downstairs, first of all.
Okay.
And then, after that, he would like to really look outside. Like, go outdoors and see the way forward, the way east.
Well, let us start with downstairs. Downstairs, as you arrive, the fortune teller is busy shuffling a few cards in his hand and has laid down some in front of him. There is food being prepared by the lady of the house. She currently has her back to you and is leaning down over the fire and perhaps putting some spices into her next stew. The children are playing, both with something that seems to have taken their interest. Their backs again to you, shielding whatever it is from you. And the man of the house is not there, nor the dog. I would ask if there is any that you would approach, or would you simply observe before stepping outside?
No, there's something wrong. Calentril is an observant, keen-minded elf. He's confused why everyone's got his back turned to him. And he wants to see what they're busy doing. He wants to go up to the woman who is with her back turned to the fire and just... The curiosity's peaked and just try and see what she's cooking.
Okay. Dagmord, we're going to come to you for a moment before we return to Calentril. Apologies, I lied. It's Gaspard. It's canon order of initiative, basically. Gaspard, behind you there is some music, some song. Food is being served at the tables. The fortune teller in the corner is shuffling his cards. What would you like to do?
get something to eat, I think. Just get a drink, get something to eat, and observe the festivities.
Okay.
Or goings on.
The lady of the house is currently preparing a bowl behind the counter, and as you approach to get your bowl, and she has her back turned, and we will come back to you in just a moment. Dagmord, what are you up to?
Yeah, do I believe that I am awake or sleeping, or what do I think?
Neither. You're dreaming. But you're
Okay.
not aware you're dreaming. You'll realise
Gotcha.
that if you wake up, but right now you're in a place,
Gotcha.
doing a thing.
Gotcha. Yeah, and is it the what you described earlier with the with hearing, thinking of hearing dwarves?
Very similar to what Calentral has seen downstairs.
Okay.
You were expecting to see dwarfs, but what you see are children playing, a fortune teller shuffling cards, and a lady about to serve some food. Strangely, you see Calentral there with you out of the corner of your eye. It's an undescribable sensation. You never see him, nor Gaspard, but you feel that they are both there with you. As a sensation, nothing else.
I just kind of cross my arms over my chest, kind of rub my arms on either side, feeling a little bit groggy from believing I've just woken up. And I walk over to the woman of the house and say, so, we're about to eat? Smells good. Did she say anything?
She is about to turn around, but we will first turn to Calentral, who I believe made the same choice as yourselves, and as Gaspard, although in a separate location. So all three of you will see the same thing, which is the gracious lady turns around toward you, only there is something missing. That something being a few features of her face. A nose, a portion of her cheek, an ear. A large amount of the side of her face seems to have been ripped, perhaps chewed off. There is blood pouring down, but she pays it no notice as she hands you the bowl, which contains these missing pieces.
Yep. Calentral, in his dream state, fear grips his very soul. He staggers back. He looks around to see if any of the other children or anyone have also turned their back to see him, or if their backs are still turned around. Have they turned their back? Have they turned around to face him?
They have not.
No.
I will
In
say
that
this at this
case-
point, if I may. Dagmord and Gaspard, you, gentlemen, we will return to in a moment. Calentral is in more control of his faculties than most in this situation, as he is not just dreaming, but meditating, and somewhere in between the two. So, Calentral, what are you doing?
He's beginning to feel the same fear he felt only a couple of hours before. Grip his heart. He does not want to look. He sees the backs turned of the children, everyone around him, but he dares not confront them to see what horrors lie on their face. And so he sees the only exit being the door to freedom, the door to home. And he will open the door, try to at least, and enter into the cold open and see if there's just way to get out of this damned place.
You open the door.
Mm-hmm.
You open the door expecting to step out briskly, following your right hand as you firmly grasp the handle, and just outside the swing of the door is a charred, smouldering, screaming in expression but not vocally, picture of a woman, inches from you, catching you off guard, to say the least.
Is it a human woman or an elven woman?
From height and stature, human would be your instant assumption.
Seeing the face contorted in such a way, being so close to me, and to haunt my dream, I stagger back. Fear has taken me, the same feeling of cowardice to run.
Cool test, please.
It's controlling me. This is not Calendral speaking, this is Adam speaking, by the way.
One cool test, please.
Challenging or average?
Challenging.
Challenging, always.
You are barely able to control your functions. There is a sound from behind you. A tap.
I turn around.
Inside the room, loudly stamping the table from side to side, is the fortune teller that is marking each of 2 cards that they have laid down, alternating their finger between one and the other, looking at you.
Curse you! Curse you! What do you want? And I will try and basically, with a quivering hand, take out the short spear. Damn you, hedge wizard! What do you want from me? From us? And he is basically, he feels that this person may be some kind of the perpetrator of all of this.
Sure.
He doesn't like him.
He smiles. A crooked smile at the side of his mouth.
4 witch hunters shall appear in Kislev. The name of one shall be arrogance, the other's fearfulness. The first shall falsely beheld me, the second shall fear me. The first shall conspire to their own destruction, the second shall be governed by false senses. My hunger returns. You must pick a card.
Bites his lip and sort of looks to the side in a expression only a charlatan would make, yet this is clearly no charlatan.
What if I refuse to play your game? Why should I play your game, human?
It is not my game, but it is yours. You must do it for the children.
There is a boy and a girl in front of you again. Well, for you, the first time.
The question is, what will happen if you don't?
Again, his eyes welling up in tears, not from, from fear, really. Adrenaline's really picking up. He will look down at the cards, and please forgive me, DM.
Sure.
Just for sake of brevity, can you just explain to me what the 4 cards...
A symbolic picture of a young boy and a picture of a young girl. They are nondescript. They could be any boy or any girl. They are almost faceless. They could be an elf, a human, even a dwarf.
I will take the boy. The girl. The moment I go for the boy, I go for the girl. I pick up the girl's card.
As you pick it up, You wake. At this point, we catch up with Dagmord and Gaspard. The three of you simultaneously wake. Separate locations, but all in uniformity. A cold sweat upon you. The room colder than you feel it should be, even at this time of year.
Putain de bordel de mer. Oh. What a fucked up dream.
Gaspard, next to you is the owner of this establishment. Lizzie, where are you? Lizzie! She's bolting down the stairs. Have you seen her?
No, I was asleep. What is wrong?
Lizzie's gone.
Little girl.
We. He's behind the counter right now. Collateral, Dagmord, you are painfully aware of this noise. The man has very heavy footsteps and is easy to follow.
Hearing the heavy footsteps, I'm already up on my feet by now, kind of stretching and groaning. Elgie, something's going on downstairs. Get up. I say, putting my coat back on.
Alarmingly, unlike the dwarf who's probably just gotten really calmly, as it were, just cool as hell, Calentral just basically stags up, his legs shaking about like a spider. And the first thing he does is look at his palm of his hand in which he picked up the card in the dream, and to see if it's there in his palm now.
Yep.
Is it there?
Yeah, you're holding on to it.
Do I see it?
Yep.
Quit playing cards, Elgie, let's go.
Oh, damn it, dwarf and your impertinence, can't you see?
I'm busy being impertinent, I say as I smile to him smugly and open the door and walk out of the room.
He basically, as he's left alone, he takes the card, puts it in his pouch, gets his overcoat on, and he rushes to follow on after the dwarf.
I head downstairs, unless there's something weird we see on the way.
There is not. There is a man reaching behind a counter for a gun. There is a dog at the front door, stoically looking toward it, but turning its head towards its master as he frantically moves down the stairs in a hurried manner. You caught the tail end of what he said to Gaspard, that Lizzie is missing.
Corental will basically usher past the dwarf, and whilst on it says dum 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 dum, he will kind of really shout out, "Where's the girl? No, where's the wizard? Whatever you call him, the charlatan, the liar, the cursed. Where is he?"
There is no fortune teller here. For the first time, he is gone.
Don't worry about that. We need to find a little girl.
More pertinently, there is a man with a gun. The gun is tentatively pointing between the three of you. Loaded, but not aggressively aiming at you, let's say. What did you say to my niece? Where is she?
I said trees are bullshit, sir. I ain't apologizing for it neither.
You didn't talk to girls? That's human girls. What are you talking about?
You went to gather wood with my niece. Now she's gone.
The dog,
Well,
by now, as a side note, has stepped toward and looks ever so slightly less friendly.
It's Gaspard's, spawn relation, and he gives a flippant hand to Gaspard. What did you talk about on the way in the woods? Gaspard, explain to this man so we can go in a witch hunt.
We talked about gathering the wood and she wanted to find her husband, and I said, well, you find her husband here in the Empire. I mean, and then the salopard of a dwarf, he disturbed the effigy of the burnt lady. So,
Well, he was creepy looking.
What are you talking about, a burn lady?
Oh, yeah, when we were getting that firewood, I knocked over a tree, me and your niece, and there was some sort of, I don't rightly know how to describe her. It was some sort of, it looked like a burned lady, but it was made out of wood and had what looked like fresh embers or something in it. Anyway, we turned away and looked back at it, and it looked like it had moved toward us, reaching toward old Gaspard. Swung my spade at it, and it just fell right apart. That was the end of it, I think.
At the second sentence you'd said, he had already turned pale, gripping his gun to the point that his knuckles start to turn white.
What's the matter?
Thou be a ghost. Now you
No,
mind, witches do not come back.
No, there weren't no ghosts. I clubbed that sucker with a spade and it just fell apart. I think ghosts are supposed to be transparent or something.
He pauses
Right.
for a few seconds, just looking at you.
Right? I asked, looking over my shoulder at the other two. Unfamiliar with lore.
Gaspar is making the sign of Shalia, crossing across his chest.
Elemental is basically repeating a name over and over again in Elven to himself.
You want to remain welcome here? You'll help me find my niece.
Grabbing his coat and putting it on.
Of course we will. Won't we? I asked, looking over my shoulder at the others, as though, of course we are.
It seems so.
Listen, Herman, of course we shall help you find your, yes, but the charlatan, he has something to do with all of this burnt lady. I dreamt it. Do not take my dreams for fool's gold. It is an ability that all our race can have. I saw something. That burnt lady is somehow connected to this charlatan with a wooden plank across his chest. Is he still here? Did he leave? We must find him.
I have no idea, but she is not inside. Therefore, we are going outside in the snow. And you,
Grabbing you by the arm.
are coming with me.
I'll rip my hand from his hand.
Tower until.
Make a strength roll, please.
Don't be difficult now.
Challenging, please.
A feeble elf. Strength.
Yes, please.
Oh god, that's terrible.
You try, you struggle, but he has a firm grip of your shoulder.
I'm going with you, damn it.
Good. And if we find the man, the gentleman, we'll have a word.
What'd they
Don't
say?
pay your don't pay your dreams no mind. I had a haunting dream myself last night. It's just things of your imaginings. Nothing to pay no heed to.
I didn't think you had the imagination to dream. I won't take a word for it.
You would think that, wouldn't you, Elgie? I say, squinting my eyes at him.
I just turn away, roll my eyes, and look at Gaspard and Herman. Well,
Time's a wasting, I say, walking the door, throwing it open.
yes, quite so, quite so. Let us be off.
Grabbing a bottle in one hand, the rifle cocked over the other, he lets out a small whistle. And not needing a lock, or a latch, or a handle, the dog simply bounds through the door, outside, with a terrifying growl you would not imagine such a kind creature could make. Gentlemen, we will reconvene next week.
All right.
Oh, wow.
My hands is wet.
Oh, gosh.
Gentlemen, welcome. We have to pace ourselves for... I cannot kill you yet, but at the end of today, I will roll up the corruption tests. I will ask for a... Well, let's do this the old-fashioned way. We need a... Yeah, I'll let you reflect for a moment. Dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Any questions from chat? Any thoughts from the players while I just roll up on the old bestiary?
That was intense.
Spoopy.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was actually a roller coaster. It really was. Oof.
I liked it a lot.
Yep.
Good
Yeah,
stuff.
it was really good.
I like all of your dudes. Smashed it, nailed it. I like Gaspard. I like Dagmore. There was some 10 out of 10 dwarven comebacks there. I can't think of the one off the top of my head, but there was one that had me ruffle. I need to think about it. It'll come back to me.
Yeah, they were pretty much on point.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So excited, I accidentally unplugged my mic. And likewise, Cledril, like, stellar job. You're a voice actor, like, we just expect you to do well. But you lived up to your high standard.
Went up to the height.
Thank you.
Yep, very good.
Outstanding performance from everyone, absolutely everyone. So, honestly,
Yeah,
it was great.
Well played.
And I really think the voice for a dwarf, having your voice, that Texas kind of voice, it actually suited the dwarf. I actually liked
Oh,
it.
thank you. Yeah, he's
It
a
goes well.
prospector, she hadn't said, but
It goes
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, it does fit the picture as well.
yeah, and it kind of varies between whether he's calm or he's excited. It gets kind of higher when he's excited and things. The shit starts to hit the fan, but normally he's kind of chill, kind of speaks lower.
Can everyone click that button, please?
Resist
Cool.
with.
This will be cool, please.
Okay.
Challenging.
Challenging. This will be for what you saw in the woods. Only
Making
one
2
fail.
corruption?
Oh yes, that's for what you saw
That
in the
makes
woods. And this is for your dream. Everyone can click that button, please.
And cool as well.
Cool as well.
Okay.
It makes sense. Collateral's going downhill rather quick.
Got 3 corruption points.
You could use a reroll
no.
if you wish.
No.
I would allow it because you haven't. But if you also feel that Calentral is headed towards some mental conditions, which is what this be,
Yes.
you're not going to turn into a fish frog. If you feel that
yeah.
that is suitable, then hey, let's just roll with it.
If you've probably gathered now that he's not exactly a hardy elf. You know, it's not one of them like Rangers Wildwood Rangers Waystock, because he's a peasant, as it were. He's an average, normal, as it were, wood elf. So yeah, he's going to be prone to mental afflictions.
Soon to be a broken elf.
Yeah, he's going to be absolutely broken.
Hydra's favorite kind.
Standard. Shout out to all the viewers. If anyone would like to leave some comments, do feel free. If anyone has cool ideas in the comments, they might be implemented, because this is not necessarily a railroad. I have a loose string of events, but what the players do determines a lot of things. So that's a thing. So also for the players, not the players, the viewers, if you have some cool ideas, who knows, it might actually end up happening. So, leave a comment, do some stuff, especially regarding the Bretonian accents. And I'm sorry deeply for mine. Gasper's was far superior, but I look forward to seeing you all again next Monday. And this Friday, we may do some map making together for a brief chill out stream. There will not be a session this Friday. But next Monday, we will return to haunt our players as you all head out into the middle of the night on Hexensnackt, looking for a girl. Good luck.
Au revoir.
Fairly well.